Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in your time zone. Only time or maybe your emotions will tell whether or not this live stream is for you. But for the moment, consider this. I was looking online and I found an old article from January 25th, 2012. It was actually a question from Forbes Tech. Is social media is shortening our attention span? The writer, the contributor, Ty Kissel was talking about it. He was saying something about it's probably unfair to blame social media specifically. But I think it's safe to say that 24/7 media barrage of sound bites we face every day could be taking its toll. What's going on, drone worship? Nope, it's turned our kids into emotional babies. One of the biggest assets I have is attention spans and humor. Funny to the both of you. Well, one of the things that the article was talking about was just, how people interact with each other and whatnot. And I was thinking about it. It was just because I was looking at different stuff as it pertains to social media. You know, um, it's kind of crazy. How people don't take time away to step away. I mean, to take time to step away from the cell phones and stuff like that. And just like look at it right now, we're having a conversation here on social media. How much of it consumes our time, how much of it controls, our ability to interact with each other and stuff like that. I mean, it is really something like that. It sounds like when I was reading the article, it was saying something about don't let the immediacy of the medium dictate the quality of your conversations. A lot of times we're texting people back and forth instead of actually speaking to them or, understanding, the value of a conversation. What social media has done is made a lot of people. Wait, hold on, let me see what you're saying. What social media has done is made it so that people don't hold their tongue anymore. They just say whatever they want to say, which causes drama. It's made it easier to connect with past family and friends on a shallow nature. Yes, I agree with all the comments that you're saying right now, you Crimson Fantasy and Drone Worship. Sometimes some things need to be said, and other times it's not necessary to say things. I agree that. It's made keyboard warriors. Yeah, it's made a lot of folks keyboard warriors. And in the article, it talked about that drone worship. It says listen more, speak less, and some people are into just saying whatever they say. It's no filter. What's up, Detox Diva? Appreciate you for coming through. You know, um, and also in the article, it was just talking about how technology is not a substitute for real relationships. What's going on, Farm Boy 45? Appreciate you. It's taken away the ability for us to live in the moment sometimes, because of our nature to or our longing to go to it and flock to it or whatever. So now because people can just type whatever they want on the web, they feel like they can go out in real life and just say whatever they want without repercussions. Well, that's partly true there. That's partly true, drone worship. I mean, you're dropping gems. You are dropping gems. I can't disagree with anything you said there. Kids see this and they follow suit at a young age. Yeah, this is true. This is true. We do have people who feel like there's no filter. You have to trust your partner too. Lots of apps if you get in it. Yeah, no, definitely, definitely, definitely. I mean, you definitely bring up a lot of interesting points or some fairly some fairly sound things that you're saying there. So what you're talking about is how people take this and we Crimson Fantasy saying we create keyboard warriors on one end and drone worship on the other end is saying how it's taking the filter away and people feel like they can do and say whatever they want without repercussions, especially in real life, and it causes an issue, it causes problems. So I definitely agree with you on that one. The biggest mistake we made as a society is removing the idea that people need to have a filter. Yes, you need to have a filter. I get what you're saying. So you like have a buffer, but what about the devil's advocate claim? The devil advocate claim, or if you argue that it's a more inclusive and open society. Social media has made it where past friends and families can approach each other and talk to each other and be connected to each other in ways like never before. So it is advantages to it. I don't want to knock social media. I think it's replaced real relationships, or we as human beings, the way we have used it has caused abuses and stuff like that. Is social media on the surface itself shortening our attention span, or is it the way we use it? So that's one of the things that I look at when I see how it's going. The need for people to have like that escapism. Kids just don't want to handle people saying whatever they want and treating them however they want. It's all about the approach, but sometimes things need to be said. Need God in your life, and that's what they need. Well, yeah, farm boy. People do need God in their life, but sometimes, in this generation, day and age, that's a kind of a archaic conversation. I mean, it's relevant, but a lot of people don't want to hear that. God, God in my life. What are you talking about? It's like get this out of here. Get this old concept out of here. Get this mythical creature out of my sight. We seek validation in numbers now. Yes, we do, Crimson Fantasy. We do seek validation in numbers, unfortunately, and it is a situation where we try to replace, our real experiences with social media. But there are advantages to it. There are advantages in still, sharing of ideas and stuff like that. I just think that the problem is that we depend too much on it, and it's kind of crazy, as it pertains to social media and whatnot, But like I said, is it shortening our attention spans? I think it is. I think our usage of it and whatnot. If you don't control it, if you constantly are connected to it. Sometimes we have to unplug, but it's addictive because we can get validation from it. Like you were talking about Crimson Fantasy, it is a situation where there's no filter. It is a situation where people are just keyboard warriors. It is a situation where folks hang on to it and hold it dear, and it becomes their everything. Just you wake up sometimes, it becomes an addiction, to the point where they say that the social media is just as addictive as opioids. You wake up and you just grab your device or whatever the case may be, and you constantly check in and doing your thing and swiping and taking pictures, and you do the selfie thing and all that other stuff. So it is a problem, but the key is, I mean, like I say, are there any solutions? How do you fix this particular thing? I mean, it is a situation where I believe that folks, need to have it, in their life, but it has to be a buffer. It has to be some filter. It has to be some separation between, the usage of it and whatnot. That's my first thing I do in the morning. Yeah, yeah, you know how I go, Crimson Fantasy. Sometimes before you brush your teeth, you're on the phone. You just like, let me see who's texting me now, and I swipe right to see if I got any new messages from so and so and so and so. It's just the reality, and I'm not saying it's totally a bad thing to be I guess interacting on social media and whatnot. I mean, it's a part of our society and our generation. It has its advantages, but I think the usage of it has caused a problem. Sometimes yes, I mean sometimes it's also what we do as well. Yes, and it is a relevancy to it, but is it shortening our attention span? And social media on the surface, I don't think it's so shortening our attention span. I think it's the usage of it. I think it's how we as human beings, abuse our resource and whatnot. Is it social media? Probably not. It's actually the people, how the people use it. And the crazy thing about it is, you know, it doesn't have to be that way, but sometimes people don't want to take the time out to learn those communication skills, those coping skills, how to deal with real issues. I mean, and there are people who do, but sometimes you just want to escape. You just want to escape from the world. I mean, one of the enticing things of being on social media is the fact that you can become anybody you want to become. People like options, and when they don't have it, they will use it, and don't like something, they will move on. Yeah, this is true. But social media has this effect because it's something that people like out of it, and I'll give you that, Crimson Fantasy. There's a draw, there's an allure to being able to come on social media and be totally different. You can become somebody or something else that you never were in real life. You could be lame or corny, or somebody who's socially awkward or didn't get on social media, and you become an internet sensation. You can go viral. You can do a lot of things. So on the surface, do I think personally that social media is shortening our attention span? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's more or less how people use it. It's almost like the old argument. Do guns kill people or do people kill people? Some people say the argument is both. If you let a gun go off accidentally, yeah, it could kill somebody. But if you put it in the hands of somebody who's, a murderer, they're gonna. It was the murderer that killed the person. So true, like those Instagram people that look, they're living it up and they're lavish. Yeah, no, no, definitely Crimson Fantasy. You know how that goes. Thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Thank you, Fury 009, for coming through. It has everyone trying to support everyone, so it is just click like and hi and bye. Yes, yes, yes. I think I get what you're coming from, Fury. I mean, it's the interaction and whatever. It's almost like what Crimson Fantasy was saying. It's a way for us to stay connected to family and friends, but it's almost like this shallow connection. It's this shallow, interaction with people. Hey, happy birthday, and hey, I love you, and hey, how you been, or hey, how you doing, or hey this, or hey this. It just makes it where you respond to people with a delayed reaction, which is nothing wrong with having a delayed reaction. But it used to be like back in the days, you call somebody up on the phone and leave a message, and you actually heard a voice, and then you respond back with a voice. But now you give a text message and you respond back with a text message, and then you respond back with another message and an email, and then there's no real interaction with each other on a human level. So that's something that's kind of crazy. It is what it is. You know, um, I don't know. I think it's more or less the way we use it. Like I got a text from an old roommate on Facebook saying hi, and he owed me. That's a disadvantage. Yes, it is disadvantage, but it comes like that Crimson Fantasy because the technology makes it so where we don't really have to communicate with each other, on an intimate level. It could be almost like a cold, very, very distant or hands-off type of situation, but you can communicate with a person. It's easier to communicate, in this time, in this life, in this generation, but the reality of it is the way we use it, it changes things. It makes stuff interesting. It's just kind of crazy, so I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I, I, I guess it's a situation where people have to decide each individual, how much of this social media, of this internet, of the thing that we want to actually allow, within our lives, when how we want this to dominate what we do, and I think it's something where we allow it to distract us and take our attention away because there may be things in life that we really don't like, about ourselves or about our society or whatever the case may be. Everything is good in moderation. Yeah, I agree with you, Crimson Fantasy, but who's going to bring the moderation? That's almost sometimes like self-imposed. Well, I look at it like in music is a sense of digital versus analog is the empty communication, which is the same as social media communication, which is empty versus a real presence of a human being, which is analog in music terms. That's very deep. That's very deep. So you're saying one is just the real connection, the real thing, like the interaction between people, and the other one is just the digital. Like okay, you stream it, you get what you get, you drop off, almost like a fast food window or something. That's how I'm kind of like alluding to that or relating to that. And you say, okay, you got this pickup window, you get it, no real interaction. You paid your money at the other window, you come there, get your stuff, and you go, as opposed to walking in the restaurant, making an order, sitting down, getting served, interacting with people and saying, this is a real experience, this is a whole thing that's going on. I mean, it's definitely that. I mean, that's something to be said about that. So it's kind of crazy. It's just kind of crazy and whatnot. I mean, like I said, I believe, you know, it really isn't fair to say that it's social media, in general, that's the one actually shortening our attention span. I think it's the people, because people decide whether or not social media is gonna do what it's gonna do as far as what's going on. Sorry if I'm a little distracted. I'm looking at this turtle. This turtle is getting so big. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I just it's just something I thought about. It's something I wanted to allude to or just address real quick or whatever the case may be. I'm curious to know whatever any of you think out there. Is it social media that is shortening our attention span, or is it something else? Maybe it's people. I don't know. You know, well, no, no, I do know. I do know. I do have an opinion, but I don't know what you think about it. So, like I said, but I would be, curious to know what anybody, may think about this. moving forward, in the replay or whatever the case may be, and that's one of the things that I'm just with, on that and whatever the case may be. And with that being said, I'm not going to really stretch this out too much further. I appreciate folks for watching. Thank you for just having this conversation with me. One or two people, three people, four, whatever. As always, catch you later. Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way.